Banana bread meets butterscotch sauce. It's a love story, my friends. This ain't no diet food. This is my very luxe version of chai spice banana bread and salted butterscotch sauce. Okay guys, this is kind of like dessert banana bread, like extra special banana bread. And you'll want to know that there are some extra like kind of little twist ingredients in here, but let's get to those later. First up, let's do our banana bread mixture first of all. So I want to start off with some flour. Now I always like to do my cake and bread measurements in grams. It is way more accurate than doing it in cups. So you'll find the measurements for this on my website. This is just plain all-purpose flour. And now some brown sugar. So I'm using brown sugar for both my cake mix and also the butterscotch sauce to give us a really deep molassesy kind of, richness. Now you want some baking powder as well. And then here come the spices. So I kind of want that kind of chai tea kind of vibe going on here. So I've picked out a few spices. I've got some ground ginger, some ground cardamom, some cinnamon, and some nutmeg. So guys, I always like to use the whole nutmeg because I find the fragrance is a lot stronger and way more, charismatic. You just need a fine grater for that. And I want a little pinch of salt here as well because the saltiness always almost brings out a little bit more of the sweetness whenever you're doing a cake or a sauce. We're going to really amp up the saltiness with the butterscotch, but for this it's just going to be a little kind of hint of background flavor if you like. So they're all the dry ingredients, so let's give those a mix. And now, of course, we need some bananas here, don't we? So these ones aren't too bad, but you can totally go ahead and use, those bananas that are just kind of stuck in your fruit bowl and they kind of look a little manky. Those ones are great to use because they're really nice and soft. So, is manky a word that the rest of the world uses? Or is that just Australian?
Manky? Could be just Australian.
Translation if you're in America, like dodgy? No, not dodgy, like just overripe. There you go. But manky, anyway, you guys know what I mean. If you've got some overripe bananas, you can totally use those. Such a strange word, isn't it? Okay, I just want to give these a bit of a mash. And for the rest of the ingredients, we need some eggs. Just give those a little whisk in there. And you want some melted butter, like just sort of melt it up and then just let it cool down a little bit before you add it in. Obviously you don't want piping hot butter to kind of curdle your eggs. And this is where my recipe really kind of differs from your, like your diet food kind of banana bread, which is totally cool. I mean, I'm all for like a really healthy banana bread. This is just not the recipe if that's what you're after. I'm gonna go in also with some sour cream. So we've got butter, we've got sour cream, we've got a whole lot of things that's making this like totally extra. Now I'm just gonna mix this together first. And now go in with your bananas. All right, so mix is done. That's like super easy. You didn't even have to get the stand mixer out, which I love because you guys know how much I hate doing the dishes. Have a look here. I've prepared my loaf tin. I've got some baking paper here, but I did butter the tin underneath. I'm gonna put some extra butter here on the side just to make sure I don't get any sticking. And then just kind of scoop all of this in. Use a spoon to just smooth that out. And now pop our little friend here into the oven for 50 minutes or until you can insert a skewer into the center and it comes out clean. You know that old chestnut. Everyone knows that chestnut. Anyway, it'll be beautiful and golden and lovely. Okay, so at this point we have a pretty good looking banana bread here, and your kitchen should be smelling like all spiced and yummy. But I've got a little trick here that's going to totally level up our banana bread game here, and that is get yourself some honey or some maple syrup, and while the banana bread is nice and warm, just give that a really lovely glaze on the top. And the warm banana bread is going to soak up all of that yummy sweetness. You're going to get a nice sticky top. Now, next trick is leave this to kind of do its thing, soak up that honey for about 15 minutes in the tin. Just let it go. In the meantime, let's make our salty butterscotch sauce. So there are a lot of ways to make a butterscotch sauce. Mine is super easy. Also includes some like weird ingredients because you know me, I just can't leave well enough alone. But let's start off fairly conservative. First of all, some brown sugar. And then instead of kind of making a caramel and dealing with all that, we're just going to do a whole dump into the saucepan. It will work out, trust me. Okay, brown sugar, cream. And then I've kind of got my same spice situation that I had for the banana bread. So I've got ground ginger, cardamom, cinnamon here. And I want some more of that nutmeg too. And then I am gonna add some soy sauce. So yes, I know. And it's not just a gimmick. Like I only add these ingredients because I know that they kind of make everything better. This soy sauce is going to give us a salty edge, like that salty caramel kind of flavor, but it's also going to add that little extra bit of umami, you know, it's going to be good. And a little bit more butter here because, I mean, you know, as I said, it's not like, you know, your diet banana bread thing that we're making here. All right, now we just bring this to a simmer, give it a stir while it's coming up to temperature. And at this point, you're gonna be like, this is not working. Why is my butterscotch sauce looking so weird? But trust me, it's gonna happen. So just a few minutes here of stirring every so often until you can see those lovely bubbles. And now that it's simmering, I want you to turn that heat down a little and just let it bubble away for 5 minutes. Don't like completely just leave it on its own because it might bubble over. Come back and check it, give it a stir every so often and see what happens. All right, so at this point, you can see our sauce has thickened up beautifully. It's kind of gone from like ugly duckling to the most beautiful butterscotch kind of swan. Does that even make sense? It doesn't even look like a swan, but you know what I mean? It now looks really beautiful. That's the kind of texture that you're looking for there. And just let it cool down a little bit more and it'll thicken up even more. Okay, so how do we serve up this deliciousness? Well, you want to have a nice, like good chunky slice of your cake here. Oh, look at that dense crumb in there. So this is what I'm talking about. This is why this is a little different to your regular kind of everyday banana bread, because this is like rich and smooth and moist, and I hate saying the word moist, but it's not really juicy, so. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about here. See how like dense and rich that inside crumb looks? So it's more like dessert than everyday banana bread. Okay, so we want a nice hefty chunk here. A good dollop of whipped cream because I mean like everything is great with whipped cream. And then pour over our salted butterscotch sauce. Oh my goodness, currently dying right now. And there you go, my friends. It's not your everyday banana bread. It is like my totally pimped out luxury version of banana bread. And you know what? I can't wait to get in here to eat it. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Oh, look at that. This is like the biggest mouthful in the world. Oh, that is. You know what is so good about that is that like slightly salty, spiced butterscotch sauce just turns that whole banana bread situation into something like totally next level. That's dessert, my friends. That's dessert. I mean, you could have it for breakfast. I could probably have it for breakfast, but I'm just saying that is one epic dessert. Yum. If you've got any comments or questions, pop them below. And if you enjoyed the video, why not hit that subscribe button plus the little bell one, and that way you'll get notified every time I release a new video. Thanks guys.